We have huge breaking news tonight, and I can't even believe I'm going to tell you what I'm about to tell you. But in a highly, indeed, as far as I can tell, utterly unprecedented leak from the Supreme Court, Politico has obtained what they say is an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Alito showing the Supreme Court striking down Roe versus Wade.
This is all I really see on social media right now is what I'm keeping up with.
People that go to my school like posting about it and like giving their opinions on it. And I didn't really know what it was originally because they were just saying Roe versus Wade. And I was like, what's that? So then I looked into it and I was like, that's crazy because like that's a huge matter to be like talking about getting rid of.
I've been on TikTok maybe once or twice this week so far, and I've already seen more than 3 videos on my For You page about this from teenagers, and it's gonna affect my age group so much if this law passed.
And I see a lot of things on Twitter, and yes, I know that like people are gonna say don't believe everything you see on the internet, but I tend to make sure that everything is like sourced properly. I think that's something that a lot of like adults today like kind of forget to do because there's a lot of misinformation being spread around.
Quote, Roe was egregiously wrong from the start, Alito writes. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled, he writes in the document labeled as the opinion of the court. Again, I'm reading from the Politico article. It is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives.
In a historic moment this past week, a document was leaked revealing the Supreme Court's intention to overrule Roe v. Wade, effectively making it possible for states to outlaw abortion. Today we've brought you in to discuss this monumental decision from the perspective of a teen and their parent.
The effects and the casualties of what this is going to do to not just adults, but to teenagers our age, because they do get pregnant, and if they've talked to their parents, if they talk to counselors about it, it's their body. They have the right to make an abortion, not the government.
If it does happen, any state that wants to put their own laws on the books that allow it would take precedence because it's at a state level and not at a federal level, which means they don't get federal money. There's all that type of stuff.
I think Texas said that like the Uber driver could be like fined for taking a woman to the place to get an abortion. That's ridiculous. Like it affects everybody, not even just women.
This has never happened before, as far as I know, a draft opinion in the court leaking, A. B, this would be, if true, the most seismic court ruling in 50 years.
I'm 57, and yes, I knew of girls that had it, but nobody had an abortion saying, oh, great, I'm going to go have an abortion and I'm going to go party the next day. It was emotionally draining for that human being.
I was still a teen when I got pregnant. I was 19, although I had her at 20. I put myself in someone else's situation. I'd respect their decisions if they weren't going to keep a baby as a teen mom. Do what's best for you.
Knowing that the option was there, I think that is the similarity that would have brought me some comfort and some assurances that it was available in a way that protected the mother, the person that this really affects.
What does seem still to be up in the air is what will Chief Justice Roberts do? Because according to Politico's reporting, at least, his vote is still up for grabs. So this would enormously change people's lives, again, if this opinion can get to a majority. But when justices then circulate the opinion, they still need to get the other justices to fully sign on. So there have been times that in the process of writing, justices changed their mind. Planned Parenthood versus Casey was actually an example of this, in which in the course of writing it, there was negotiations.
Their job is to look at the law. Their job is to analyze the law and make a decision for the American people. I think they still need to look at it more.
I hope this is just a draft that should have never come out to the world and that they'll change their mind, because it's going to be horrible for the whole nation, for the whole world, because everybody's looking at us.
And I do hope that it could help change the minds of a couple of people and also encourage people to vote about who our leaders are and be able to have some change and take control of our own women's rights and everything.
The fact that somebody is leaking this is telling us that that person hopes that they can sway perhaps Chief Justice John Roberts to split the difference a little bit. Again, I'm totally speculating, but this extraordinary leak, I think, needs to be read on its own as somebody really trying to draw attention to what the court is about to do to the lives of the American people.
I feel like abortion will happen either way, whether it's the safe way or not, which is what's just dangerous.
You know, in a situation where the person I'm with became pregnant, and either her decision or our decision would be to terminate the pregnancy and go to some place that wasn't legal. You know what I mean? That was some back alley doctor or something like that, where all the safeguards may not have been thought of or put in place.
There's so many reasons why an abortion might be needed.
When I was in 6th grade, there was an 8th grader at my school who did become pregnant and decided to keep the baby, and people were talking about it and all that stuff. And it must be really hard to be getting bullied and being shamed for having a baby and all that.
From a monetary aspect, the support starts at birth, but there are a lot of expenses prior to that.
A child is a big responsibility, and I would say to the judges that it's better to not have a child than bring a child into this world when you're not ready for it, and you and that baby are going to suffer because there's so many other factors that need to be in place.
In terms of the birth, if it's an unwanted pregnancy for a various list of reasons, and that child is given up for adoption, who's going to pay to take care of the kid?
Orphanages are already overfilling, and I don't see any of these people adopting, and it also takes thousands of dollars to adopt a child, and I had no idea about that. It is expensive to adopt a
raising
child.
a child. Why do you think I only have one?
What are we going to do next? I mean, are you going to now tell people when they can have children, when they cannot have children? How are they going to live their life? I mean, those are very private, personal decisions.
It really is an invasion of privacy because that's nobody's business but my own. Yeah. Because pregnancy, I mean, obviously I've never experienced pregnancy, but I'm sure, Mommy, you know that, like, it's an intimate experience and not every woman can, like, mentally handle it, physically handle it. It's a lot.
I find the discussion narrow-minded without having all of that taken into account.
Let me read to you the full text of a brief statement that the chief just put out. He says, to the extent this betrayal of the confidences of the court was intended to undermine the integrity of our operations, it will not succeed. The work of the court will not be affected in any way. He says we at the court are blessed to have a workforce, permanent employees and law clerks alike, intensely loyal to the institution and dedicated to the rule of law. This was a singular and egregious breach of that trust, and that is an affront to the court and the community of public servants who work here. And then he says, in conclusion, I have directed the marshal of the court to launch an investigation into the source of the leak.
Yes, they breached all, professionalism and ethical guidelines of the court. I get that, and that person is going to have to live with those consequences. I agree with that, but I am so thankful that that person decided to do it in that manner, because if not, it would have been too late.
It proves that it's like a scary situation, really. It proves that, like, whoever did choose to leak it was aware that this was something that was going to cause a huge fuss for everybody and for women, especially in America. And
it proves we just never know what's going on in the government. We don't know
what else could be like.
What else could be they could be doing there, and
It's scary. It's terrifying.
I'm trying to think how this would have taken place if the Supreme Court would have just brought this, decided, and then released it to the public. What kind of outcry that would have happened at that point in time. I don't see how the justices can view all of the protests that are going to be happening, and are going to be happening, and not see that this is wrong for the American people, ultimately.
I think this is my first time I did a serious episode with Sierra, because usually takes like 2 hours to do one episode because of the amount of laughing we do.
There's a lot of unpacking here, Sierra, a lot of unpacking.
For more information on the topics that we discussed, click the link in the description.
RBG is rolling in her grave right now. She's like, this ain't it.